society's gotten a little soft.
Society's got a lot soft.
Yeah, society's gotten soft.
A couple students, they like hitting stuff with hammers, like working with a grumpy uncle or something. You're holding that wrong. It's one of those. It makes me so happy. I mean,
Welcome to the real world.
welcome to the real world.
Yeah. I've known you for quite a while now, and you've always come off as someone who's very caring. Like you,
I appreciate that.
You tremendously care about you. Welcome back to the greatest blue collar podcast in the world. Today I have a special guest. He actually is the Autobody Instructor at the high school that I went to, South County Technical High School. He wasn't my teacher. He wasn't there at that time when I was there, but he is a teacher now. He's been teaching there for roughly 15 years since my former teacher retired. And I have Mr. Kenny Neuman. Welcome to the podcast, Kenny.
Thank you very much, man. I'm kind of geeking out. You know, it's very cool to be here and an honor to be asked to be on here. So, man, thank you very much.
Absolutely. A long time coming. I know I've been talking to you about it for 6 months probably. And it's just life.
Life. When you first said it, I'm like, really? Yeah. Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you coming on. I'm curious what you think. I recently had a cousin of mine message me about he works at a school in southern Missouri, and he asked me if I knew anybody that wanted to teach the high school Autobody program down there because the teacher's retiring and they don't have anybody. And I keep on hearing these stories, and I told him, I'm like, let me know the information. I could post this out, put this out to the Autobody world, basically.
Yeah.
See if anybody would be interested because they're having trouble finding somebody. And I don't want to see these programs shut down. I keep on seeing different Autobody programs in high school specifically closing down, and it's very sad. And I haven't heard anything else back from him yet. But have you noticed that, a trend around the country of these programs shutting down?
Oh, yeah. I belong to Missouri Collision Instructors Association also, and I haven't been to a meeting in a while I feel bad about, but that group is the same way. You know, some instructors, they just don't have, we're very blessed to have the support from the industry, from MVTAP, CREF, our administration, everybody around us, to support our program. And a lot of schools don't have that. And if they don't have the support, they have to get it where they can. And sometimes it's, local body shops, dealerships, or something like that. And sometimes they don't even have that. I remember hearing one instructor say, they didn't have a budget, or their budget was like $500, or their budget was they had to fix cars for people to get money to buy materials, so they could fix cars for people to buy money to, So
and that has to be tough when you're teaching because they're high school students.
Yeah.
They're working on other people's cars, and something gets messed up. That could be dangerous.
Which is true because my students know. I found this way pretty hard. Is the big L word. It's liability. And if you do the wrong thing nowadays in this Sue Happy, world, something falls off. Oh my gosh, you're responsible for your car, their car, 3 people that were walking by. You just never know. So, like you said, you have to teach that, but it has to be a quality enough to be a good repair. But you have to teach people who haven't done it before, and that's a hard curve to work. So in areas, in smaller towns, out in the middle of nowhere and stuff like that. It's a great program. It's an industry that's screaming for people. There shouldn't be that much of a problem getting people to do this, but like I always say, you can't do it like this. You can't do it with a computer. You can't do it on your phone. It's actual work. So a lot of kids don't want to do it. But when they get in there and find out they like doing it, it's a different story. So hopefully more students will like that program, and they keep the program, but they have to make the program, a likable program. And there's a balance of liking it, but it's still work. You still got to work. You still got to, it's still work. There's no replacement for it, pulling that fender off, pulling that bumper off, doing the repairs, put it all back together. And not everybody wants to do that. In my classes, sometimes, it used to be I'd have several good ones, a couple of bad ones, and a bunch of people in the middle. And I don't mean this bad to any of my students or anything, but some people are just there because they don't want to be in regular class.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a fact.
It was the same way when I was there. For sure. Same exact thing.
Yeah, the same way when I was there. I mean, I graduated from there in '82.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, you know that? Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's why I'm always, when I see somebody like, oh, I went to South Tech. Oh, what year? 75, 82. Nice meeting you. And it's a small world. I run into people, especially wearing this. I run into people all the time that, oh, you work there? And oh, yeah. So, the school has to be an environment that people want to be into.
Sure.
And like I said, lately, I've had less and less fine-tuned students that want to do it, a whole bunch of middle ones, and I haven't really had any like really bad ones, in a little bit, but that's a whole lot of, they're just there to, to, I don't know, not be in regular class.
Sure.
So, but I know out in more rural areas, it is more, kids are like farm kids, and stuff like that. So, they know what hard work is, and they usually don't mind it. So
Sure.
The people I know that have, from the guys from the group that are, more out in the rural areas, they usually have more dedicated students, more interested students. So when they have interested students, they need to keep those programs open because, like I said, the industry is not going anywhere. This is an industry where you can't take that car, ship it somewhere else, fix it, bring it back. You just can't.
Right.
The volume of cars and people, so I mean, it's got to be fixed there. So, everybody's screaming for technicians.
Oh, yeah.
And all us old guys are getting old and retiring, and that's leaving a big gap. So the ones who want to do it, they'll get in, and people like you will help them, and give them tips and show them different things. And, that's the way it should be.
Right.
It used to be, like, I ain't showing you nothing because, you're going to get my job.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to a guy today about that. And so it's not like that anymore. People want to help each other out because, the more I help you out, the more we get done, the more we all get paid.
Yep.
It's a win-win situation. So,
yep. The more I've had a lot of people make those comments to me as far as my content goes, like, why are you giving away all these secrets? People are going to take your job, this and that. And I view it completely the opposite. I view it as I'm more valuable the more people I could create to do my job. Not that was ever the goal of my content, but I want more people. I want people to take my job because that means I'm doing what I need to do, as far as promoting the industry, promoting the trade, getting young people into the trade, and I get those messages all the time now that I've been doing this for over 7 years now, of people who started the trade because of my content, and they're thanking me for it, which is very cool. But.
Yeah, I mean, we use it all the time. I mean, when you're watching somebody in an industry that you want to be in, you're like, hey, I like cars. Well, you're working on cars all the time, So I mean, if you want to be in this industry of repairing them, you're watching somebody who's repairing them and doing it right and going by the P sheets and, showing you the process, step by step, what's not to like. I mean, well, that guy's doing pretty, that looks pretty cool. Watch you chop it off, throw that quarter panel on the ground, prep the new one, get it all on there. That's the way it should be. You're basically a mobile school,
Sure.
over the internet and Snapchat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, you're interested, like I said, getting people to be interested in it,
Right.
More than, just watching a show or,
Right.
Thinking they're working with their uncle, like, oh, I kind of like it, but watching what you do is just, icing on the cake, so thank you for doing that because
absolutely.
that's been a big help.
Sure.
I mean, it's a big help.
Now, do you guys ever have enrollment, like low enrollment for the Autobody program at South County Tech?
I like this part. It's not me, it's the program. Some people say, oh, you're doing a good job. But when I first started, we were on the hit list of, low enrollment. So, when I forgot what they call it, you got to be on a program to kind of build your numbers back up and stuff. And now, like I said, I've been there 15 years, and I heard from one of the admissions reps that we've had a full class the last several years, probably about the last 4 or 5 years. So we got a full class, which is like 15, 16 students, and a waiting list. Well, this year we've got a full class and a waiting list of almost 30 people.
Oh, wow.
So
That's very good to hear.
I know it's one of those. It makes me so happy. I mean, and the students who, even the ones who, man, I know you're just there to play, blah blah blah, like you said, but I mean, they want to come back. Sure. It's nice even when they're mad at you because you're crabbing at them to work and all this stuff. At the end of the year, several of them were like, this is the only class I like. This is the only reason I go to school. So I can come here.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm not saying that you have to, you as a student, you have to do this for the rest of your life and get a job right out of school. But if you want to, it's there.
Sure.
And if you don't, you've got some good skills.
Yeah.
You learn how to weld. You learn how to, fix a bumper or even take a window motor or something off and put it back in, and people do that all the time. Yeah, I had to do one of those over the weekend. They come back like, man, I'm glad I did that, in class last week. And
sure.
Now somebody wants me to do theirs, and it's a good skill to have because every arrow you can put in your quiver is something that you have.
Yeah.
So if you've got a skill, great. Because there's a lot of people that they just don't seem to have any.
Yeah.
So if you like cars and blah, 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 and, it's a great way to get skills.
Sure. And it could be the only opportunity some of these kids ever touch tools.
Oh yeah.
There's probably a lot of them that have never touched tools before in their lives. The ones particularly, not saying that women can't do it too, but particularly no dad, fatherless homes and stuff like that. A lot of those kids might not have a tool in their house.
Yeah.
And so just getting their hands on tools and getting that hands-on experience is valuable.
And it's usually helpful because, like on open houses, and things like that, and first day at school, we're gonna, because some students have used tools with their uncle or dad or aunt, or mom or something like that, and they've used some stuff to do some stuff around the house. And other of them don't know what a screwdriver is and which end to use. Right. So it's like, okay, everybody's gonna learn. So we start with our safety, and things like that. And then we start with our hand tools and power tools, like right from the bottom, and then work our way up from there. So yeah, you gotta know how to use the tools to do the job. And like I said, even if it's not doing an Autobody job, you got to fix a lawnmower or you got to fix a washing machine or something. You got to know the tools.
Yeah.
And the more tools you have, the easier the job goes. One of those radiator hose clamp tools with the cable on it.
Yep.
Like you can fight this, with pliers and all this stuff, or you can take this and go, whoosh, and pop it right off. And they're like, wow. I'm like, yeah. The tools make your job faster and easier. So you got to know the tools.
Sure.
Buy the good stuff.
So yeah. So what happens with those 30 kids that are on a wait list?
They unless somebody drops out or something like that, they just don't
get the chance.
Don't get a chance. Sometimes if there's an opening, the next year they can try to get on as a 1-year senior, but they're kind of shying away from that, because that's a lot to do, like in 1 year.
Yeah.
But the ones who don't get in don't get in. It's a missed opportunity. And when people come in an open house, they say, I'd like to sign up. Well, you better sign up quick.
Right.
Because, they fill up fast.
It's a first come, first serve type of deal. And just so everybody knows, at least the Autobody, the high school programs in our area are typically 2-year programs for juniors and seniors. Obviously, the seniors is the more advanced level of the class. I don't know if they're like that all over the country. I would imagine most of them are probably similar. I would think so.
Yeah, we it's an entry level. It's high school. So you come in, at high school and like, well, I want to check this out. Like I say, if you come in and you do this for a month or a year or 2 years and you find out like doing it, great. You can either go to college or go out into a shop.
Yep.
I remember John Hildebrand saying, I work at a college and I always say, come to my college. And now he's like, now I don't care. I don't care if you get in right in out of high school or, you go to college or whatever, but get into the industry because we need people.
Yeah.
We need people bad. So if you want to get into it, there's no reason you can't get into it right out of high school.
Right. yeah, just whichever direction some people think that they need that degree, which is, the college degree, which there's nothing wrong with. I mean, that's just advancing your education, but it's not required in this industry, at least not currently.
No, your work ethic and your job and how hard you work is all that matters.
Yeah.
If you're teachable and you got a good work ethic, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
People will want to invest time in you. And, this new kid, he's a little green, but, they work really hard, and I showed him something the other day and he remembered it, the next day. You're on your way.
Yep.
You're on your way.
Yep.
I remember one kid, he came in and we kind of butted heads, the first of the year. And he's like, I'm homeschooled. I hate teachers and I don't trust teachers and I hate school and all that stuff. And at the end of the first year, he got a job at like a Mako or something down the street. And then he came back as a senior and he was a whole different kid.
Oh, wow.
He wanted to do the body work. He liked the body work more. I don't like the paint work, but he was a whole different kid, and now he works at one of the calibers, in the area and stuff like that. And I ran into him the other day and, he's doing good, and if he didn't get that exposure at that high school level, then, he may have got out and gone, I don't know, he may have gone to college, but if you go to our school for 2 years and you find out you don't like doing it, you didn't spend 40 grand or more to go to college and find out you don't like doing it.
Right.
So this is a great entry level option, opportunity.
Right. You're going to determine if you go through a 2-year high school Autobody program, you're going to know if you like it or not by the time you're done. I mean, and that's important too. If you don't like it, you shouldn't do it. You know? I mean, that's just like anything else. I've had a lot of people message me and they'll be in their late 20s or so, and they're wondering if it's too late to get into the trade.
Oh.
Or they're asking me, should I become a mechanic, do this, or option A or option B? And I always tell them, don't view how much money you're going to make. And that's usually in the question too. Which one's going to pay more? I want to make good money. And I tell them every time, focus on something you want to enjoy, because you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life.
Yep.
So do something you enjoy first.
Yeah.
And if you love it, I mean, you can make good money doing lots of different things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It's just figuring out how to go about that.
Yeah. And especially in like mechanics or Autobody or something. Oh my gosh. Anybody know that's a mechanic? I got to put a alternator on somebody's car. I got to do somebody's transmission. You're like I say, you can become everybody's newest best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, you do Autobody work? Somebody backed into my car. Can you come take a look at it? Like, yeah, I'll fix that for you. And it's just never a shortage. Most of the people I know that have big shops, they started doing side work in their garage till they got so busy that they had to start their own shop, and now they got big old shops.
Yep.
And that's your work ethic is is the main thing. Yeah. That's your foundation you want to build on.
Yeah. Work ethic and positive attitude. If any young person that's been through the shop I'm at, anytime if they have a positive attitude and a good work ethic, I will support them and back them no matter what. They could make all kinds of mistakes. As long as they're learning from it, they have a positive attitude and they have a good work ethic, that's more important than anything else. Because there's so many people who are skilled, but they'll cry and complain and they don't show up on time, or they aren't reliable. I'll take the work ethic and the positive attitude all day long over everything else. Yeah, because this person may know more and you know less, but you want to learn. It won't be long before you're as good as that person, and that person don't show up. So, yeah, like you said, you'll be working with me, and the other person will just kind of fade away. Yep.
And it's sad, but I mean it's just something as basic as being on time. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. So get there. Like, have good. You don't want to be. How many times we work with somebody like, man, I like everybody in here except for that person.
Yeah.
It makes going to work just. You don't be that person. I don't care how skilled you are.
Yep. That person just makes the day not fun.
Yep.
And I've seen those people too. Or you just don't know what you're going to get out of them.
Yeah.
One day it could be one thing, and the next day it could be something completely different. And, almost, I don't know if it's a bipolar thing or whatever, but I've seen it before, and it's just like, man, the person's great, but at times, but yeah, work ethic and reliability and all of that is just the number one factor in my book.
Yeah.
Because the skills and all that can be taught over time,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, a perfect example, one of your students, Tony, that works at my shop currently.
Oh yeah.
He's a great kid.
Shop boss.
He gets very upset when he makes a mistake.
Yeah.
It really bothers him. And I'm like, dude, just learn from it. It's okay. But he's reliable. He works hard. He has a good work ethic. He's always there. He's a good kid.
He's a good kid.
And I always support him for that reason, because the mistakes you'll figure out over time. Sometimes I think it might scare him a little bit.
Yeah.
But part of I've made plenty of mistakes.
Yeah.
I still do. I mean, it happens.
And it happens. That's how many times we heard, you got to make mistakes to get better.
Yep.
If you make no mistakes, then, one, you're weird.
Yeah.
And two, something ain't right. You got nothing to learn from.
Yeah. And there's nobody that's not making mistakes. They might not show them, or they might hide them, but everybody's going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It just happens.
And the people who, are really good, they're like, yeah, you just never see them.
Yeah.
But yes, I do.
Now, that's one unfortunate thing. The 30 kids that can't get in the program.
Yeah.
I wish there was a solution for them, because those could be some of our great techs in the future. Obviously, I know you can't have 35 kids in your class.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work. That would just be chaos, and it wouldn't be a good education.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to, give enough, instruction and all that. But that's why I like the first day or two, and like I tell them day one, it's like, I'm the most real person you'll ever meet. I'm going to crab at you because that's the way the world is and that's the way the shops are, but if you don't want to be here, don't be here. If you're not going to, if you're going to complain about burning your finger or smashing a finger or getting a cut or something like that, or working in the shop on something, crawling under some dirty, truck or something, then don't be here, because there's somebody behind you who really wants to be here.
Right.
Because I've had open houses where a parent goes, how do I get them hooked up? I've been trying to get them signed up for this class for 2 years, and they keep telling me that, there's a, waiting list or whatever. And all you can do is just keep trying. So, day one stuff, if you don't want to be here, don't be here, because there's somebody behind you who really does.
Yeah.
So you're denying that person a chance to do something they really want to do, when it's something you really don't want to do anyway. You just want to be here because your buddy's in the class.
Right. Or you just don't want to be at your normal high school, which, to be honest, that was part of the reason I liked going originally. I mean, I was interested. I wanted to learn Autobody. I was interested.
Yeah.
But I also liked that part. I liked not being at my regular high school. I liked the hands-on, being able to use my hands,
Yeah.
Just recently, Tess asked me what my favorite class was in high school, not counting Autobody, just regular high school. And I thought about it for a minute. I never really thought about this, but I said it was gym, PE, whatever, weightlifting classes, and it was ceramics, art. It was anything I got to use my hands, anything that was physical. And I never really thought about it till this was just recently. And I was like, those were my favorite classes, was anything that I got to use my hands or some sort of physical type of class. I hated all of the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing. It's very, especially ours, it's very artistic.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, anything to do with your hands and create and, build something or take something that's all mangled up and make it look good as new. I mean, the pride of workmanship is just, astounding, and you get paid for it. So, I mean, it's a pretty good gig.
Yeah. And it's art. It literally is an art. I mean,
It's
100%.
Yeah.
However you want to look at it, it's, even if you're just, there's no actual, you could consider filler work kind of like an art. You're actually sculpting something. But even if you're just taking parts off and putting new ones on, you're still making everything look good. I mean, it's still an art just doing that.
Oh yeah.
I
gotta say, mechanics, their art is, listening to that motor or listening to a sound that the car makes, and it's like, yeah, that's, it's the right brake rotor, or yeah, it's, that third cylinder is running lean or something like that. And that's their art, is analysis, and they get really good at it. But ours is, the feel in the eye, and you're straightening a quarter panel and trying to make that line out of Bondo and, trying to straighten that all up and move this, yeah, that looks really good. And like I said, even putting a fender on, making sure all the lines look good, it's very much, very artsy, very artsy.
Yeah.
We're also doing, the bowling pin thing through Cref.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've had a thing the last several years where they send us bowling pins and students, custom paint the bowling pins. And it's nationwide, and so the pins usually go to CREF, Collision Repair Education Foundation, and who's somebody else who, supports us. And they use those for ICAR committee trophies. Like our group has like 6 or 7 of them, I think. And so they're having a competition with that. So the pins are very artsy. You get them and they're airbrush and customized and stuff like that. Well, some people will go that extra step. So like I saw the ones that were done like last year, and it's a bowling pin. It's a bowling pin, but I had 2 students that went that extra mile. Because you've got so much to do. Like I said, it's very artsy. Right. So one kid made the bowling pin look like Homer Simpson's leg with a bite taken out of it. Mm-hmm. So he ground down in there and made it, formed it with some Bondo and stuff like that.
It's so neat.
And a young lady in the class, Kaylee, she made a piranha plant like from Nintendo out of the bowling pin. You can see the bottom looks like the bowling pin, but then it's got the neck, and she made the thing on the the head on the top of it. Did it all with Bondo, shaped it, made the leaves out of. Made the leaves out of Bondo spreaders, made the teeth out of Bondo spreaders, and airbrushed it put the little dots on it. And you can look at it and, like, that doesn't look like a bowling pin.
Right.
Well, you can tell that it is.
Right.
But, I mean, that's one of those that's really going to stand out. And that's where, like you said, the artsy part comes from.
Yeah.
You can create so much neat stuff.
Yeah.
We've done mailboxes and pedal cars, and stuff like that. And there's just so much you can do with this.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very
and
artsy.
I've seen the bowling pins for quite a few years, different events and stuff.
Yeah.
And this last one that you guys, I went to the ceremony a couple months ago. And it was the first time I ever saw that it wasn't just painted bowling pins. They actually, like you were saying, they carved out different parts, some of them.
Yeah, those 2 that were there are the ones I was talking about. Yeah. And
I'll put some pictures if you send me if you have any pictures of those, send them to me and I'll put them in the video for this too.
Appreciate that. And that's just something to, what we do is it's cool, but there's just so much you can showcase to take that art and make it cool. We got an old refrigerator. I like doing the old refrigerators, putting custom paint jobs on them. Old 50s and 60s. Like I said, mailboxes, pedal cars. You can take anything old and just kind of crappy and custom make it. And it's just so cool.
Now I'm curious. Do you know the reasoning behind why they started using bowling pins?
Not offhand.
Gotcha.
I think because
easily available, maybe, or something.
Everybody knows what it is.
It looks like a trophy. I mean, it's kind of like a trophy once they do their art on it and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, they were doing they did the hood ones, like the small hoods. Mm-hmm. They did for years, and it's a hood. Everybody knows it's a hood, but you can do whatever you want with your creativity on that hood, and you can still tell it's a hood.
Right.
So like the bowling pins is the same thing. It's how creative can you be with something mundane as a bowling pin? Well, you can airbrush it, and that's cool, and that looks great, or you can go the next step.
Right.
And then really like one time we stripped all the stuff on the outside and they're wood on the inside. So we stripped it all on the outside and just left it wood and left it all kind of cracked up and put Abe Lincoln's first 300 game, just just to look kind of like an old one, just something else to do with it.
Sure.
And I guess because it's something everybody identifies with.
Right.
But what can you do with this thing that everybody can identify with?
Right. The only reason I asked that is I was thinking about at that event a few months ago, I was thinking this would be cool if we use, I've recently gotten back into RC cars, big boy RC cars. And I thought it'd be cool if they had a competition where they painted RC car bodies and then partnered with an RC company like Traxxas or something and had the winners get like a free car or whatever it might be. And I always thought that would be cool if they did some sort of competition with painting RC car bodies or car models or something like that.
That would be a good idea because I mean it is a car body, a car
Right.
body, truck body, whatever, and that would be neat because if you did something cool enough, that they really liked, they may say, "Can we make this a limited edition?"
Sure.
Whatever.
Oh, that'd be really neat.
That would be
if we
cool.
partnered with one of the companies and they agreed that they would make it a limited edition body,
Yeah.
the winner or something, and then they could give away some RC car. It would promote their brand of their RC cars, and it would give the kids they're basically doing a custom paint job just on a mini car rather than a real car.
Yeah.
Just a thought. If anything,
It's a good thought.
if it ever got brought up again, I don't know if they'll want to get away from the bowling pins or not. And the bowling pins, I'm not bashing those at all. I think
not
those
at
are
all.
very neat too.
Yeah.
That's something that went through my head whenever I was at the event then.
And the thing is, it's all about ideas.
Right.
The good. Everybody wants to have that one idea that's like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then somebody else catches it, and then it just kind of, goes viral and just goes to the next level.
Right.
And that would be cool.
Yeah.
I know for the MVTAP, we used to do mailboxes, and then they would auction them off at the Rankin Car Show, and then the money would go to MVTAP and their scholarship program, for students. And we kind of got away from that, and then we did pedal cars one year. Lewis and Clark did one, North Tech did one, we did one, and I think somebody else did one. And same thing, they raffled them off or whatever at Rankin's Car Show. So I mean, just it's something else, to get the kids going.
Sure. Now, it sounds like enrollment's not an issue anymore, at least where you're at.
Yeah. Sorry, we kind of
Oh no, that's all
drift
right.
around a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's a conversation. With enrollment being good, I've always heard that funding in the high schools for Autobody programs, obviously it's very expensive, very expensive. And I didn't really think about until I sat down here with Don from Rankin, and he made the comment that it's way cheaper to have just a classroom of just computers or a classroom of just books rather than the cost of having to buy materials and paint, fenders and hood, whatever it might be. It's a very expensive program. Now, how difficult is that from year to year?
Well, like I said, we're extremely blessed to have, a good funding, for our program. We're part of a special school district. So, I mean, we have a good budget to work with.
That's good to hear.
If we need stuff, they're, pretty good about getting it to us. And like I said, donations from CREF, from MVTAP, we have a lot of people that support us, but, every once in a while I'll order a quart of paint for something like, hey guys, guess how much this quart of paint is? $75, $150. No, it's $250. Oh my gosh. And that's not the reducer. That's not the clear that goes over it, blah, blah, blah. That's one quart of paint. And like I said, it's just so expensive. Yeah. But our
and you're teaching with it, so
yeah.
You're gonna get kids that are gonna mess it up too.
Yep.
So
yeah, and when I order materials, and I order gallons of paint because just paint that fender, paint it over. We'll do solid colors, and then we'll do I usually have like a metallic blue and a metallic red. Just that gallon of metallic red is $400. Yeah. And I need enough for 16 people. Right. I think all my seniors are coming back this year, so I'll have 15 or 16 people again, and which is good, but that's a lot of paint to go through. And to me, there's no replacement for holding that paint gun and feeling the weight of it and stuff like that. I am trying to get a virtual paint machine. Mm-hmm. I know North Tech has one, so we'll probably end up getting one sooner or later. But that's good. But I mean, there's nothing like painting a fender,
right,
or painting a door, and
yeah, it's a good kind of maybe use it the first few times to learn off this simulator, because I mean the simulators are neat. I've used a few of them out at SEMA a few times.
Yeah,
and I mean it's neat what they could do. It feels pretty realistic, but it's still not the same.
It's still not the same.
Not the same. It'll never be the same.
Even what you're looking at, it still shows a digital picture of. Which, like you said, it's neat because it shows if you're too heavy or too light or something like that. But it's still a digital view. It's not a fender, and you can look down it and see if you can see the orange peel. Or, I hit this spot twice, and there's a run in it. Look at that. Okay, now I can see it,
Yeah.
and there's no replacement for that. So I try to do that as much as possible.
Yeah. And there's also probably a nerve thing with students, because they know if it's on a simulator, if they mess up, it doesn't cost anything. It's just try again, try again, try again. But if you have $200 in base coat in the gun and you're getting ready to go paint something, and that student knows that,
Yeah.
there's a nerve there that they got to do their absolute best, because they don't want to mess this up and waste this material, then have to do it all over again.
Yeah. And some of them, they don't care. But I mean,
Yeah, some of them don't think about it, but
yeah, but for the most part, yeah, there's that extra pressure of, hey guys, this is, so much, don't screw it up. And sometimes they'll drop one and, they'll spill, half a gallon, like, oh my gosh, how much that was. I'm sorry, and, but I mean, stuff happens.
yeah,
But, we get some stuff donated, sometimes somebody changes systems, so we'll get, gallons of paint, and stuff
that's
like
good.
that. So
That's good.
yeah, I get calls every once in a while, and somebody switching systems, and want to know if I want the rest of it. Like, sure,
Right.
If it'll paint, reduce it down,
Right. Yeah, you'll take whatever you can get to teach with. I mean, it's not like you're really worried about color match. You're just trying to teach the fundamental skills.
yeah. And there's some
Most
things,
of the time, at least.
there's some things I should probably do more of. Like we don't mix paint. We don't do by formulas and mix paint, stuff like that, because that's, if you go to a shop and they have a system where you have to do that, then you can learn that,
Right.
by this much of this and this much of this, in a day you can get that down pretty good. But the putting it on smooth and putting it on straight, just use some more of this red, use some more of this red. Okay, now use this blue. Get the hang of it, because you got to get your technique down. And once you get your technique down, and don't do this, and all that stuff, then you can go from there.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, the materials are, actually, we're very blessed to have a good budget.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear. I was always curious about that, and I've heard lots of high schools struggle for that reason, and probably why some of the high school programs shut down.
Yeah.
Is maybe they don't have the community like South County and all the local tech schools have.
Yeah.
That back them up, but
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, that's now what's the enrollment for the automotive program? Is it a lot? It's a bigger shop, I believe, if I remember right.
The automotive program has they have 3 different teachers.
Oh, okay.
So they have 3 times the students that we do.
Gotcha.
Because like one teacher teaches like, kind of like specializes in brakes and performance, and one does like electrical and engines, and one does like steering and suspension, and they'll still do everything else.
Sure.
But that just makes more opportunities for more people to get in that class.
Right.
Because automotive is one of those. If we had one class, there'd be 15 students, and 147 wanting to get in that program. Right. So those programs are always full.
Right.
And I think actually we had like more people on our waiting list, but we only have one program. Right. So yeah, there are 3 programs and they're always full.
Right.
They're great programs. I got great teachers and great equipment to use. I mean, they got lifts and wheel balancers and alignment machines, and I mean, so they got nice stuff to work with too.
That's good. That's good to hear. Good to hear. I've never understood. I shouldn't say that. I do actually kind of understand, but it's always been like that. The automotive program has always been more desirable than the collision program. It's the same thing at Rankin as well.
Yeah.
Their automotive division is significantly bigger than the collision. And I think part of that problem, and part of the reason I started creating content like I have, is when I was a kid, my grandparents had an automotive shop. So I grew up, my dad was a mechanic his whole life. And so I grew up around that. Mm-hmm. I actually didn't totally understand that it was 2 separate industries.
Oh, okay.
Until I went to South County Tech. I didn't understand that Autobody was a complete separate industry than
it was just cars.
Yeah, that's kind of how I viewed it. And I wonder if a lot of kids think that way. A lot of people, I don't know if everybody thinks about having to take your car to a mechanic shop.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot more common. Mom got a flat tire, we got to go to the mechanic. But accidents, unless you're a bad driver, they don't happen that often. to a specific person.
Yeah.
And so kids don't have that much experience going into a body shop compared to going to a mechanical shop. So that's my theory, at least.
And you're right. I mean, everybody, is a mechanic. That's
Right.
brakes and engines and wiring and stuff like that. But you have an accident, it's like, well, let me talk to my insurance company.
Right.
You don't talk to the shop. You talk to your insurance company, and they talk to the shop. So there's a big separation in that. But like I said, it is two totally different animals.
Right.
Yeah, and I think the reason there's more students in automotive is, it's my car. I want to put exhaust on it. I want to put brakes on it. I want to put, a fart pipe on the back of it. I want to put a stereo in it and stuff like that. But ours is, it's different. Take the fenders off, put them back on, get the bumpers off, get the headlights out, and, straighten that fender. Okay, good. Now straighten it again. And it's just, like you said, there's more art to it, and there's more to it in that way. But I mean, students are like, it's automotive, it's
Right.
mechanic.
Right.
Everywhere you go, there's a Dobbs, or there's, some mechanic place everywhere.
Sure.
But people don't notice that you go in any crappy little town and there's at least one body shop.
Right. Right.
Sometimes it's the only thing there.
Right. And when kids are coming up, they might go to the mechanic 3 or 4 times a year to get new tires, get an oil change, whatever it might be.
Yep.
Whereas I think the average accident is like every 7 years, so there's some sort of stat out there. I think it might be around 7 years. And so I mean,
Makes sense.
yeah, you're going to the mechanic all the time as a
Yep.
kid, but you're not really going to body shops very often unless your mom or dad's a bad driver. But
Yeah. And that's true. Like I said, everybody goes to the mechanic.
Yeah.
I think right away mechanic.
Yeah.
But now with social media and video games and stuff like that, people put a lot more emphasis on the way the car looks, the way the car is designed. It is the way it runs and, suspension, all that. But they also, they want to wrap it, or they want to, put these custom parts on it, or ground effects, or something like that. Or even custom make the interior speaker boxes and stuff like that, which gets into your fiberglass, and your interior work. So there's more content on focused on body and stuff like that now than there used to be.
Yeah.
Because before it was just fix that Taurus, send it to the body shop, and we'll get it back, and then we'll drive until it needs brakes.
Right.
And then we'll go to the mechanic.
Yeah, and that reminds me, whenever I went to South County Tech, I don't think they do this anymore, but when I went there, they had a sophomore program that you got to, it was like an introductory program. So I would spend so many weeks in like carpentry, then so many weeks in, I don't remember what all of them were, but different trades basically for my sophomore year. And one of the carpentry class, when I was there, I actually made a subwoofer box for my Camaro, and it's still in the car right now.
Oh no!
Yeah, but I made it to where it would tuck back in the back of the trunk to where I still had most of my trunk.
Yeah.
And I made that at South County Tech in my sophomore year. Yep, and it's still, so I must have been 15, 16 because I got my car when I was 15. And
you still got it?
Yeah, I still have it.
Wow, that's cool.
I still have it. I haven't driven it in a long time,
But you still got it.
I still have it.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't plan on getting rid of it.
They don't have the exploratory program like that, the sophomore program anymore.
That did go away.
Yeah. Now they just have like 8th grade programs and stuff, and people come in, students come in when they start doing their 4-year program or whatever. And, they go to a couple of programs and kind of check it out and see if it's something they want to get into. But yeah, they quit doing that a couple of years ago.
Gotcha. 8th grade, is it like a 1-day thing they do here and there?
Yeah.
Just to bring 8th graders in, like a field trip kind of?
It used to be longer and, more of a production, but now it's, they bring them in, they come through. It's nice because they usually do it when students are there. So we have our student ambassadors, or something like that. We'll have groups come in, and the students can see what the shop's like, and they see people working on cars, and stuff like that. And then we try to have a couple different hands-on, activities. So like one thing that I did last year that worked out pretty good is we get a hood, and if you can get them to do something hands-on that they, really gets their attention, they really like it. So we'll get this hood and we'll give them a hammer and we'll let them put a dent in the hood. So, see how this is all nice and smooth? Whack that hammer, on that hood and put a dent in it and see how that changes. Use the light, to find where the dent's at, and stuff like that. And then they usually have a couple students. They like hitting stuff with hammers.
Yeah.
And then, so another one that works good is we airbrush a little bit, so we'll have things set up and they can, use the airbrush and we'll get a stencil and do a little stencil and, because usually they're like, who wants to do this? After the first one does, it's like, can I do it? Can I do it? And then everybody wants to do it and they're airbrushing, like little flames or something like that. And,
Sure.
and so they'll come in as a group for like 11, 12 minutes and they'll go out and another group will come in and, they'll do that usually like in October, like every Thursday for a month. And so that's the way we do it now. And I've had people that come in and say, one young lady a couple years ago say, I'm here because I came in, I used to have that Model A hot rod and that was in here and I asked you to fire it up and it was noisy. I'm like, oh yeah. So people come in and they see something that grabs them, like, oh yeah, I'm in the right spot. So when she could get into tech, she came into tech and she's like, oh yeah, I'm in the right place. And she loved being there and she loved what she was doing. And, so, I mean, sometimes it's that 8th grade visit that hooks them. And several of them, say they're there because they come in on the 8th grade visit and, hit that hood or airbrush something. And, that it kind of got my attention and now I really like it. So yeah, the 8th grade programs are great.
Now, I don't know if they've ever done any type of statistics trying to follow students after they graduate. Is there any percentage of how many students graduate from the High School Autobody program that end up in the career?
They do like a 180-day, like a 6-month checkup and like a 1.5-year checkup or something like that to see if they get into the field or if they go to college or if they do something else. So yeah, there's data that they go by. And
do you know any of those numbers off the top of your head? I didn't prep you for this, so
no, that's okay. Usually, it isn't that many that go. There's like maybe 1 or 2 that might go to college.
Gotcha.
And it matters on the group because we have internships. Like the 4th quarter of the senior year, they can go work at a shop instead of coming to school. So they can earn their grade at a shop. So when they make that relationship with a shop and they get on that internship, and I'll talk to them every once in a while and see how they're doing. They could go work in a shop, and then they got to come to school like once every 2 weeks or something like that. But besides that, I may see a student a couple of times a year,
Right.
towards the end of the year, and I don't see them anymore because they're already working at a shop and they're already doing something. So
And you're checking up on them at the shop
and that's how they basically earn their grade in my class.
Gotcha.
By how they do at the shop.
that's probably only for probably the top students, I would imagine.
It's for the ones that want to work.
Gotcha.
And one year I had like 9 out of 12 students on internships.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, through the week, I had just a couple of students working, and one would be, here or there because they got to come in that one day. But I mean, most of them were on internships. And one year I had like 3. Like last year I just had a couple. So it matters on the students who want to do it. But yeah, the internship program is great. If you want to be in there and that's what you want to do, we'll help you get into a shop. I talk to people all the time, that at the golf outing through MVTAP, and I talk to people there. Hey, give me a call, and then we'll set something up for internships. Let me know. And so there's a lot of fingers out there that want to, for students to have an option to get into a shop if they want to. So, like I said, I don't know the numbers offhand because it changes.
Yeah.
It all matters, kind of like we said before, how hard a student wants to work.
Sure.
If I got a group of students that want to work, they're out working in a shop and, 4th quarter and, they're already invested into a place.
Right.
So, yeah, it matters. It matters on the group.
Yeah, and getting that real world experience that young is valuable, very valuable.
Yeah.
Because no matter what you do, you can't you can't totally replicate a real world shop in a teaching way. You can only do so much. You can only do so much. You still don't have customers waiting on their cars, and it's just two different worlds in a way.
Yeah, but I try to make it as
close as you can.
As close as I can.
Sure.
And I tell them all the time, it's not like I don't don't like you guys or something, but I'm going to crab at you to get to work, because when you're working out of the shop, somebody's going to crab at you to get to work, because you need to get to work. Get to work and get stuff done. Yeah. You can't sit there on your phone. You can't play around. You can't hide somewhere and sleep. That's the way I run the shop, because I don't want you to get out and go, well, this is nothing like you said it was, Mr. Neuman's. Like, no, it's going to be exactly, what the shop is like, as much as I can make it, like you said. And so I'm going to crab at you. And that's why I'm surprised, like so many of them are coming back, because I had to crab a lot of them last year. But it's a good group.
But I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for the I know as an instructor, you could only be so hard on the kids.
Yeah.
But I wish everybody was harder. In a way, I wish managers were harder on people. I mean, because society's gotten a little soft.
Society's got a lot soft.
Yeah, society's gotten
soft. Thanks for the PG rating on that, but it's got a lot soft.
It has. Oh
and
I'm all for teachers being a little more blunt, but they got to protect themselves too. I mean, it's different in the trades for some reason. You could be a little within reason. You could be a little more. Yeah, a little more bold, just because that's kind of the trade,
But that's what you have to do. Nobody's gonna, if you're working as an accountant, you get in there and you crunch those numbers. It's like, well, I did. In the middle, it's like you got to be careful with that. Get there, put your safety glasses on, and get to work. Quit playing around. And I would feel personally mad at myself if I didn't make it an environment that's realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to, not just for them, but for me also, because like I said, I don't want them to get out and, I sugar-coated it and stuff, and they got out there, oh my gosh, it's like, and I ask them every once in a while, I'll run into former students, and I'm like, hey, and I always tell them to be honest, day one, just be honest, and, was I incorrect about, the shop and how they run, and they're usually like 99%, like, no, it's pretty much just like you said it was. I don't want to sugarcoat it to you guys, because this is what the industry is like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Welcome to the real world.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah. And kids are gonna clown around. I was a class clown in school. I clowned around plenty.
Same here.
But there's a difference between a student's clowning around in a classroom with pencils and paper, and clowning around in a body shop with welders and torches and hammers and lots of stuff that you could get seriously hurt on, or somebody else could get seriously hurt on. There's a difference in clowning around there compared to clowning around with pencils and desks.
Oh yeah, I always say, hey guys, be careful of that, because you only make that mistake one time.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah, and you'll be missing something.
Yep, and like I said, you don't want that to happen, because as a teacher and a person, you don't want to see people get hurt. You don't want your students to get hurt. Like you said, we're around sharp metal. You're going to burn yourself with welding.
Yeah.
You're going to. It's going to be something.
Yeah. Your buddy comes up behind you and gives you a wedgie while you're trying to cut a panel off, and all of a sudden you chop your finger off because your buddy's clowning around. And and it's not a dangerous trade if you're smart. I'm not saying there's nothing dangerous about the trade if you use all your proper protective gear and everything else. But kids are kids.
Kids are kids, and adults are adults. It's one thing I miss about working in the shop, and that's one thing that I tell the students is it's not just the job, it's the atmosphere. If you love going to work with people that you love working with, and you love being there, it's like, I love my job, and being, people that we used to work with. I used to work with a guy named Ray, and Ray Huffman, super cool dude, and he was a short guy and I was a tall guy. So I'm like, hey Ray, will you walk under that rocker panel, and see if that's done under there? And we would just joke around back and forth, and but I mean, we got stuff done. And we would kid around with each other, and just throw something at somebody. But I mean, we got stuff done. So there's a balance of playing around and enjoying the atmosphere, but getting stuff done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I miss working, like I said, that environment of working with people that are, I couldn't name all the people that I used to work with that I just loved working with.
Sure.
You make friends for life.
Yeah. Now, go back in time a little bit. Then you were in body shop. Were you in body shops up until you started teaching?
Yeah. Like I said, I went to South Tech, graduated in '82, and worked in a dumpy little truck shop up in the city. I mean, it was dumpy.
Yeah.
And we'd work in everything from dump trucks to Corvettes, and then basically went from shop to shop here and there. And I was in the shop for 28 years, working at different places. And then I got the job at the night class, teaching night class at school.
Okay.
And then when the day teacher retired, then, I applied for that job, and got that. So I've been in the shop for 28 years and then been at school for going on 15. So, I mean, that's all I've ever done,
Right.
So I hired on with 28 years of experience, in the field. So, it's not like I know everything or anything like that, but, a lot of experience. And that's why, sometimes it's hard, like I'm telling somebody how to do something and they balance out between the teaching and the knowledge, because I know a lot of people that are really good, but boy, they sure couldn't teach. Like working with a grumpy uncle or something. Yeah, you're holding that wrong. But
they're frustrated with the car already, and then they get frustrated at you because the flashlight isn't pointed right. Or
the flashlight isn't held right. Oh, that's the end of the world.
Yeah.
The experience and stuff like that, it's hard to balance out trying to tell somebody who hasn't done this before, and try to give tips and tricks, and stuff like that. And, balance that out with their learning curve. You don't want to hit them with all this stuff. It's like, with iCar and all that, it's some pretty heady stuff, and some of them get it, some of them don't, understand that. But you have to fine tune that between what you're trying to teach and who's trying to teach it or who's trying to learn it, so you got to balance that out and try and get the best way to get the information to the person for the best way for them to learn it.
Right.
So
teaching one person, if you're teaching two different people, you might have to teach it one way to one person, and you might have to teach it a little differently to another person because they learn differently.
Yep. And some people pick it up real quick, and other people do not.
Yeah.
One of those things.
Sure. So what made you want to start teaching?
I lost a bet. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I was friends with the guy who was the assistant principal when I went to school there. The Follett family and Mrs. Follett. She said hey Ken, she gets her hair cut out there all the time, and said, hey, they're looking for somebody for the night class. I'm like, well, I'll try it out. And so I tried it, and then I was working with, adults, and they're like, if I can put some rockers on my truck, I'll be fine. So doing that was different. Like I said, never been a teacher before, but, I like trying to teach somebody how to do something that they're interested in doing, and if they, like now, if they want to do it and they desire that knowledge to do that, they'll pick it up and they'll get better. Like I say, I don't want you to be as good as me. I want you to be better than me.
Sure.
You're going to learn more things and have more patience and this and that. So trying, I just, I liked it.
You just enjoyed the night school and just went for it.
Yeah.
And you come off, as long as I've known you for quite a while now, and you've always come off as someone who's very caring. Like I appreciate that. You tremendously care about, you really want to give these students the best education. I've seen that from you forever. So,
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's something that really, it means a lot to me. And then, sometimes when somebody doesn't pick it up or, something like that, I mean, it hits me hard. It really does. But when they do, when they pick it up and they do a nice job, I had one kid he was painting a fender and he'd always get to run in the same spot, but he got better and better. And the last one he painted, like, man, that's nice. That's better than mine. It's so happy. It's such a nice job, and that gives him a lot of pride and, a feeling of accomplishment, because like, okay, I got past that hump of, running it all the time, and it's really slick and heavy, but it didn't run anywhere, and no orange peel. I mean, it was slick as glass. So I mean, when a high school kid could do that, I mean, I know it's just a fender, but you're getting your technique down. When you can do that on one thing, you can do it on something else, sure. And you can do it on more. So if you can get somebody to do something that they enjoy doing, yeah, it means a lot.
Right. And
so
then
I appreciate that, man.
I'm sure it feels good seeing students 5 years later, 10 years later become successful. And I'm sure that's very rewarding as well, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah. You stay in contact with a lot of your past students?
Yeah. Matter of fact, when I first started, one of my juniors, my first group of my juniors and senior class, Mike Smith, he works at a place where they paint boats and stuff down, I think around Lake of the Ozarks or something. Okay. And I mean, I'm like, hey guys, look at this boat, that he painted, big old power boat, fountain or something. And he's, painting these really cool, things. And through the years, I've been trying to keep, contact, with them. It's one of those, I'm here if you want to. And, gone to lunch with some of my former students and went to one's wedding, not too long ago. And he asked me to attend his wedding, which is, was an honor.
Yeah, that's neat.
And yeah, I just, was texting one of the guys who graduated last year, the year before. They all kind of blend together, about where he's working and then trying to get, a paint booth or something, so I mean, I'm always here to help. It doesn't matter, how long you've been graduated. I'm always here to help.
Right.
So,
they ever get a new paint booth down there at the school?
As far as
I know it was old when I was there. I remember it caught on fire when I was there because I think somebody didn't open.
No kidding.
Yeah, somebody didn't. I don't know if there's a manual event you had to open or something. And it was heating, and there was no exhaust. And I think the filters caught on fire when I was there. Oh. But that was 2004, 2005. So,
the one that's there is an older Italian booth, and it needs replaced.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the same one. It's probably the same one.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. It's they're expensive.
That's expensive. Yeah.
When I put it in my budget, like I said, I have a budget to work with. They have to buy sheet metal and fenders and all that stuff. But oh, by the way, I also like this $100,000 spray booth.
Right.
And then they have to take down the old one and put up the new one and hook up the makeup system and all that stuff. So that's a hard sell.
Mega expense. Yeah.
But like I know Culinary one year they got like $80,000 worth of equipment, and it costs like $84 to put it in. So I mean, they don't mind doing the upgrades like that. It's just that's a big upgrade.
That's a big one. Yeah.
And sometimes it's like we can't do that this year. We'll try next year. Okay,
Right.
So they're wanting to, but as long as it's not a safety thing, it's like it's only got 3 doors on it. So I mean, we kind of smell it through the shop. That would be a different story.
Yeah.
But
it would be nice if some of the big companies that build them would put more into the high schools, and,
that would help.
I mean, that'd be nice.
That would be nice. And giving somebody a spray booth, but I mean, they've got spray booths that they didn't sell this year's model, whatever, and we've got 17 of them left. Mm-hmm. They need write-offs. Right. And write that off, send it to a school.
Right.
So send us your spray booths if you have them piled up in the corner.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even if the school had to pay for the labor to have it all done, I mean, that's still a huge.
That's still
savings,
huge. Yep, that would still be, and they could have their maintenance people, do it.
Right.
Not that they don't have enough to do, but I mean, they could do it.
Right.
We got this free booth. We just have to take down this one and put up the other one.
Right. Even if you had to have somebody come in and do a little bit of wiring or whatever it might be. They could do the bulk of it at least.
Yeah, have ATI come in and at least take down this one and put up the other one.
Right.
But that $100,000 for the booth or whatever.
Yeah, that's a big expense for sure.
That's a big expense. For sure. Yeah, we ain't getting that this year.
Right. Now you said not a lot of the students end up going to college.
When they're like going through the senior year,
right?
And I'm like, if any of you guys are going to go to State Tech, Rankin, that's usually where they go, somewhere close.
Ones, yeah.
You just say something, because you can get money through CREF, through Mike Rose Foundation. We got his poster hanging in our classroom, for his scholarship program. We can get scholarships from all sorts of people. So if you're gonna go, say something, and we'll try to get you hooked up with this. And every once in a while, somebody will do that. They're trying to go through CREF, for scholarship. But most of the time, I find out, they go to Rankin like 2 years after they graduated. Why didn't you say nothing?
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
we could
kids don't understand. They don't view the cost of the school and the value of scholarships.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I remember having a stack of different scholarships and different stuff I could apply for my senior year whenever I was getting ready to go to Rankin, and I didn't do any of them.
Didn't do any of them?
I didn't do any of them. In retrospect, that was free money sitting there.
Free money.
It's free money, and it's a lot of money because, believe it or not, you got to pay back your college loans. As much as the government might want to pay for them for you, you
still got to pay it back.
Yeah, you still got to pay your college loans, folks, and get into those scholarships. You might not view it as valuable right now, but you're going to view it valuable whenever you start paying those when you get a little older.
Yep. And when you get out of school, it's like, I have no college debt.
Yeah.
Because I've got all these different scholarships. It's a whole different level.
Yeah, and avoiding that debt is very valuable. It
Yep.
makes life a lot easier. I'm an anti-debt guy, period. But
Yeah.
I took out college loans at that time. I didn't know any different, and I had to pay them back.
It was kind of the thing to do.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
You want that higher education, you get a loan, and you just like if you get a car, you drive that car around, you make the payments on it, and they let you keep it.
Yeah.
But I mean, now, like I said, if they don't want to go to college, then just go right into a shop.
Yeah.
And you can work, you can go to college and get the education and get out more informed, or you can go to a shop and they will help teach you, and some of them will send you to college anyway.
Yeah.
So instead of paying for that college, go get into a shop that will send you to college.
Yeah.
And you're working and making money at the same time, Rankin with their 8 on and 8 off program. Right. That's fabulous. You're at school for 8 weeks, and then you're in a shop for 8 weeks, and you're making money. And, they teach you stuff, you put it into practice. They teach you more, you put it into practice. And when you get out, you're already hooked into a good job at, a dealership or a shop, and it's just, the opportunities are just like here.
Yep. And it connects the school with the shops more. So the shops are telling the school what they need consistently. Every 8 weeks they're having different students, and they're almost testing out those students to see what the school is teaching them, and then they could tweak things around as needed, to where that student's getting the best education possible.
Yeah, and the shop's there to make money.
Right.
But they're investing in that student, to make their experience at school and their learning better. So they're investing in the school's investing in the shop and the student. It's a win-win situation. Yep. There's so many opportunities out there. Like I said, now it's just, when I was in school, and you had to fight for a job, to get, when you got out, it was just a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
And now they're screaming for people.
Yeah. Begging for it. And that's another thing. I get messages from people often. Oh, I've applied to 8 shops in my area. I've applied to every shop in my area, and nobody will hire me. I don't believe it. I don't believe that they went to every shop in their area, unless they live in some podunk town where there's 1 or 2 body shops. I just can't believe it, because shops are desperate for people. And I've seen that a lot. That one surprises me, that how many people say that, and I can't believe it.
But it's also, one thing I'm a big believer in is you're a product.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you going to sell that product?
Yeah.
Or are you going to sell, I'm a product, I'm going to come in and say, I've done this and this and this, and I really want to work. Or you come and go, I need some money.
Yeah.
Why? I applied at 8 different places like that.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder you didn't get a call back.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you go in there and you show any kind of, intent or interest or anything like that, they'll scoop you up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, now the problem is, we call them pulse people. It's like, you got a pulse? Okay, we'll put you to work. Because, one of my things is don't be better than nobody. Because they have people that work at shops and stuff, and I talk to the owners and stuff, and the student's like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. And, I talk to the owner, like, well, they're better than nobody. You're like, oh, you made that moniker of better than nobody. Hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
You're better than nobody. Oh, that's a low bar.
Yeah. And the owner of that shop says that, and they might think that, but they're probably worse than nobody because they're bringing down the morale of the shop.
Yeah.
Because other people are seeing that laziness from that one person and they're seeing that the owner or the manager, whoever's in charge, is allowing that person, whether it's a detailer or a body tech, whatever it might be, they're allowing that person to just screw off all day or clown around or not work or hide. They like to hide a lot.
Yeah.
And that becomes toxic to the whole shop because everybody else sees it. And then they get frustrated with it because they're having to take out their trash when this person should be, whatever it might be.
No,
it's a cancer that spreads through the whole shop. So the owner might view it as well, this is better than nobody because if I didn't have this person, I would have to go wash that car. But they're spreading a cancer through the shop, unfortunately.
And that's a real good way to put it. It's a real good, it's a cancer because like some of the people are like, man, they're paying that guy, and like you said, just every word you said, it just dropped, why should I worry about it? And then the other person says the same thing. And then, like I said, it drops everybody down.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a domino effect.
Or
it's a snowball effect. It just gets worse and worse if they keep that cancer and let that cancer keep spreading. I would say I don't want to see people get fired, but I wish more people got fired.
Yeah.
It's
I agree with you.
But I think shops can't find people. They're having such a hard time finding people. That goes back to my last point. I can't believe that these people are saying they applied to every shop in their area and they can't get a job. I just don't believe it. They're presenting themselves so poorly that nobody wants to hire them anyway. I don't know the people. I don't know anything about them. But if you walk in and you look like a shit bum and or you put tattoos on your face or whatever it might be, like I like tattoos. I don't judge. I don't care what you do, but people are going to judge. I mean, it's just reality.
Yeah.
It's whether you like it or not, people judge stuff like that.
Yep. And we can't put you in customer relations. So, we make sure we put you in a shop somewhere.
Yeah. There was a viral video not too long ago of this girl that was crying because she can't get a job.
Oh yeah.
She looked like a complete idiot. And like, if that's how you want to look, that's fine. But like, hello, like it's just how you present yourself is important.
You don't want to be that, like I said, that product that nobody wants.
Yeah.
Well, I can work hard and stuff, but it won't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to get your foot in the door first. I mean, and they could be great. They could be great workers.
Yeah.
It's just probably not because they're not intelligent enough to present themselves right. But they could be the best worker in the world, but they can't get past that initial step.
And the only way to get around that is let me work for a week. If you don't like me, fine. And because I've seen some guys that work. I've talked to shop owners like, oh, when Fred come in here, he was all tattooed and goofy looking, and I wasn't going to give him the time of day, but we needed somebody, and he worked out really good. We have to keep him in the back of the shop, or whatever. He says he's not in customer relations, but he's a hard worker. He does a good job. Like you said, we don't care.
Yeah,
we don't care. He does a good job. That is the great equalizer. Yeah. If you do a good job and you show up and you care and you're somebody good to work with and all that stuff. Oh yeah, we don't care if you look like an elephant, or something like that,
Yeah.
We don't care. You do a good job.
Right.
And you're not a jerk.
Right. Yep. But I mean, that's important. It's important to present yourself the best way possible.
Yep.
Per what society views. You might view as this is the best me, where I look like I just woke up out of bed and I'm wearing my pajamas still. But you got to present yourself in a way that society is going to view you as presentable.
Yeah.
You don't have to wear a suit. You don't have to wear a suit into a body shop. That might look weird too.
Or at least be, like I said, at least be presentable.
Yeah, just be
You can't be so far off the deep end that it's just like, nope.
Yeah, don't wear pajama pants and Crocs or whatever to an interview. I mean, it doesn't work. But at the same time, you don't need to wear a suit to an interview at a body shop. That would be weird too, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you come in.
Just look nice.
Huh?
Just look nice.
Just look decent. I know when I went to school there, teacher said a guy went to apply for a job and he had a work shirt on, had his paint gun with him and stuff. It's like, I'm here to work. Yeah. You know what? They put him to work, and that guy did really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't, it's the content. It really is. Yeah. And if you know somebody with, I know this and this and this and this, and you show up the first day and it's like, how am I supposed to do this again? People are going to notice it, and then you'll be right out the door.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you're an 18-year-old that automatically thinks you know how to do a quarter panel, and you're like, oh yeah, I've done a quarter panel before. I know how to do this. Yeah. It's like, just because you've done one or helped with one doesn't mean don't be a know-it-all.
Oh gosh, know-it-all.
There's a lot of those know-it-alls like, oh, I know how to do that. Oh, I know how, just because they did it once.
That's the kiss of death. I mean, it really is. I talked to a manager or something like, oh yeah, you come in and say, I know how to weld and all that stuff. Yeah, he didn't know how to weld. Yeah. We let him do a little bit, and no, it wasn't good.
Yeah. So anybody that's young, any of the students, I don't care how smart you think you are. I don't care if you think you're the best welder or the best whatever in the world. Don't show it. And just pretend like you're trying to learn, because that's what, as soon as you start to act like a know-it-all and act like you know everything, people are going to dismiss you real quick.
There's nothing wrong with being humble. I mean, it's not demeaning or anything in any way, shape, or form. It's a good attribute to have. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being humble. Yeah. As long as I've been doing this, I don't know everything, all this stuff, and I'm just like, I try to do my best, blah, blah, blah. But I'm never going to go, I tell the students, I'm never going to tell you guys, I'm the best painter you'll ever see, or I'm the best body guy. No, I do a good job, and I try to do the best I can on whatever. Yeah. And when you have that mindset, that's when that other people will go, that person's all right. Yeah. But like you said, as soon as they just say they know everything and they prove that they don't, then everything that comes out of your mouth after that is baloney, and nobody wants to hear it. You've basically started up here and just... Yep.
So what advice would you, I've known a few people that have told me they're interested in eventually going into teaching people in body shops. What would be your advice to somebody who is basically wants to go your route, exactly what you've done?
Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. The main thing is just is patience. And, like I say, I've been doing body work for, 42 years now, and I'm teaching for 15. I have no patience left whatsoever. I mean, I'm starting to do something that doesn't go right away. It's like, but the main thing is patience and care. If you care what you're doing and you're patient, you care for the work that you're doing. You care for the student, that they learn. You care that they want to learn what you know, and if you go about it that way, even if they don't learn real good, they're going to appreciate that you care about them learning.
Sure.
So if you're just crab, and, it's just going to turn them off right away, and they're not going to want to learn.
Right. They're going to be intimidated by you almost.
Yeah.
Especially being a student in school, if the teacher is extra crabby with them because they're just not catching on to the right technique, they're going to become intimidated by it.
Yeah. Hold that flashlight right, like you're saying, but the main thing, it's patience, and to me personally, it's patience and care. Yeah. You got to care for what you're doing, and people will pick that up. And I'm not the best teacher in the world, and but the students who are there, they know and they realize that I'm there, for them and to help them out, and stuff like that. So, that's, to me, that's the main ingredient.
Yeah, and you're very good at that. Like I said, I've seen that with you. You care tremendously, for sure. You always have. As long as I've known you, you want to do the best you possibly can for those students. So
I appreciate that.
You obviously have to have a lot of patience. I mean,
I used to.
you still do. You might not think you do, but there's no way you could, if the classes are anything like they were when I was there. Oh yeah. You have to have patience, because even myself, I wasn't the easiest one to deal with. I clown around a lot still there, and
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, teacher that was there then, I remember him throwing a metal toolbox across the shop one time because he was mad at me. I mean,
Yeah,
it happens, but
it happens.
not,
There's
not that that's acceptable in today's world. I mean,
no, there's definitely, Mr. Newman, did you throw it to me? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It was a bad day. Yeah, I mean, I tried to, funnel that back a little bit, as far as not let your aggravation, because it's not worth it. I mean, it's a great job.
Yeah.
I thank God for the job that I've got, and it's a blessing, and it's just, an opportunity, and I don't want to screw that up. And so a lot of times I have to, back stuff down, but, like I said, you also want to make it an enjoyable place to be.
Sure.
So that's where it's just a fine tuning thing. When I started teaching, they said it's not like you're a teacher for 12 years. You're a teacher for 1 year, 12 years in a row. Because each time you're learning, something doesn't work, you try to do this. Something doesn't work, you try to do that. Something that worked for this group of students isn't going to work for this group of students. So you have to fine tune and keep everything fluid. To try to make it the best learning environment as possible, for the ones who are there and want to learn.
Right.
And the ones who don't, it just kind of try to be bearable.
Now, do you guys still use the iCar curriculum, or is that?
Yeah.
You still do? Gotcha.
They're switching it to your iCar Academy or something like that. But yeah, I mean, at a high school level, we do SP2, and iCar, we do the intro series, and Pro Level 1 and non-structural and refinishing. So I mean, those are good certifications.
Sure.
So students are getting out of high school if they want to achieve those with good certification. So yeah, we do the whole iCar curriculum, and sometimes we'll get it done. I used to try to spread that over the 2 years, and which I need to fine tune that because you're changing. But the last couple of years, we've been working with the special ed teachers and stuff, and they've been pushing that. So a lot of times, if they're not done with all of it by the first year, when they come back the next year, we're hammering on them to get it done. So I mean, a lot of times when they come back as seniors, like, all your iCar is done. We have to do SP2 again, because it's a 1 year deal. Mm-hmm. But besides that,
SP2 is the safety.
Yeah, safety protocol. And it covers a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And there's plastic repairs in there. There's a bunch of different things with that.
So the second year students probably get a lot more shop time than the first year students.
Yeah, and that's what I tell them. Your first year there's a lot more classroom.
Right.
But we're starting from scratch. We have to learn like I said, our safety, our hand tools, our power tools, sheet metal repair, plastic repair, welding. Sheet metal, fenders and bumpers and door panels and all that stuff. We have to learn that the first year, and then I always keep refinishing for the second year, kind of a carrot, come back, because they all want to paint.
Right.
So when they come back, it's like, you guys have learned all this. Now we're going to throw painting on top of that, not to mention what you guys learned before. So now, before, when you were straightening that fender and getting it in primer, you're going to straighten that fender and get it in primer and paint it, and then do a repair on it and a blend and paint the whole thing. And so I mean, they have a lot of shop time. So
Gotcha.
they've got the opportunity to be immersed in that atmosphere for a whole year if they want to, and if they like it, like I said, then fourth quarter they go into internships and they're working in the shop.
Real world, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say the first year is probably about a 50-50 classroom shop, roughly?
No, it's at first, since we have so much to cover, there is more book work and computer work, but once I start out with our safety and hand tools, power tools, and then I do sheet metal repair and welding. So we get those covered so we can get into the shop.
That makes sense.
So that way, some of them are doing welding, because I've got 5 welding areas, and some of them are doing sheet metal repair. So I mean, you got a bunch of them hammering on fenders, and they can go back and forth, and it keeps a lot of them busy, at one time. And some students will get it done pretty quick, and other ones, I've had a student be on straightening a fender for 6 months.
Right.
But it when we get into that, everybody starts getting, then we can start going on to other stuff.
Right.
And then they do spend a lot of time in the shop. So, I mean, I would say it's more like, 70-30, maybe
Gotcha.
60-40, 65.
It's
something
those
like
first few weeks to a month. It's a
Yeah.
lot, because you got to get through the safety and everything else, and
Yeah.
so that could scare some away. They might be like, "Oh, this is just like my regular school, sitting in a classroom." But
Sitting in
once
a
you get
class.
past that initial
Yeah.
safety and basics, then they get
Yeah.
get more hands on.
And the juniors, it's always like, trust me, we'll get there, but the seniors that come back, they were right where you guys were at, and when you guys, if you come back, it'll be the same thing. When you come back, there'll be less, computer work and stuff like that. I mean, we still have to do, a certain amount of it, but we'll get in the shop real quick, because you guys have to start from the ground up, because like I said from the beginning, some of them don't know their tools. You got to know their safety. Everything you get that you go in there is going to cut you or burn you or something like that if you're not careful. So, it's a slower process at the beginning, but then it catches up.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to touch on or talk about, or the floor is yours? If there's anything you wanted to.
One, personally, thank you very much for what you do. We use your videos for, like during COVID, I'd be doing, go to Blue Collar Kyle, video number, blah, blah, blah. What kind of car is he working on? Did he do the right quarter panel? And, I use that as as lessons sometimes because, like I said, you cover the stuff right. You cover the material right. You go by the P sheets. You do what you're supposed to do, and you show how you grind out all the stuff and split everything. And even when you're putting a quarter panel on, you sand the inside and you prime the inside. Everything's prepped good. Everything's done right. Thank you for doing it on this productive level, right? Because you see all these other videos where people are just hacking stuff through. The guy who's the car's wadded in half and they're still cranking it out and making quarter panels out of sheet metal and just but I mean you're doing it right and all the bases are covered and basically thank you for what you do, man.
Thank you.
You're one of those lights that give other people the idea
Sure.
of doing it. It's like, man, that's cool, man, that guy does pretty good, because I would have never got this kind of exposure to the industry and the local support systems and schools and stuff like that if I just work in a shop.
Right.
I just work in a shop. I go do my job. I go home. On the weekends, come back Monday, go back to work. But with this job, I get to meet people in industry. Hooked up with great people like Gene Slattery and Ron Reiling and John Hildebrand and all these people in the area who support us so much. And it's just a different level. It's not just school. It's environment growth.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know way to say it, but I mean, it's growing an environment and learning a skill. And when you love something, and you really got to love it pretty much to do it, for as long as I have, and still want to do it, because I did talk to one student. They're like, man, you didn't talk to us about, burnout or whatever. And like, well, when you do it all the time, I mean, yeah. And you do it on the weekends and you do it, whatever. But that happens with any job.
Yeah.
That happens as, accountants, and stuff like that. But when you love what you're doing and you're making cool stuff, it's just a different level. So, I thank God that I have, this exposure to so many people in our area, and just the support systems and the people we meet, and, MVTAP and their golf outing every year, go there and meet people in the industry and, support from Enterprise and, the ICAR committee. And, it's just so cool. I mean, it really is. When the students come in, it's like, I love my life, and it's not because I'm rich or famous or good looking or anything like that. But I mean, I just know so many cool people, and they just do cool stuff, and we get support and they get to work with students. And, if that's something they want to do, it kind of rubs off on them and, they start doing something they enjoy. And, you know, that's where, like you said, where the teaching part is, you know, when you can see that and you can do that, you know, it just means the world.
Right.
You know, so, I don't know. Like I said, I just met so many cool people, you know, so many good people.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, thanks for being one of them. You know, so I mean, it's just it's cool.
Well, I'm glad my content has been able to help you teach and help with your training and everything. And I'll be honest, I never in a million years thought that my content would be used in high schools. Never thought that. And I get messages all the time. I mean, apparently it's used all over the place. From what I hear, it's used everywhere. I mean, all over the place, all kinds of different schools.
Yep.
And that never even crossed my mind whenever I started this. Never even thought about that. And then I just started hearing about it. And I remember one of the first messages I got from somebody was they had a TV set up in their classroom, and they sent me a picture, the students did, of them watching, I don't know what school it was, but kind of shocked me. But I appreciate all the support that you give me and using my content however you need to. I'm glad it helps. And if it makes your job easier and helps the students get more education that they wouldn't see the real world otherwise, it's worth it to me. So
and it's cool that we have the connection, because I mean, that's one thing I like to say is, you know, use it as a selling point is, you know, hey, you know, Blue Collar College, he started right where you guys are at. You know, John Hildebrand, because I got his picture, he was in front of Fender Bender magazine, you know, and he was such a great teacher at Rank, and, you know, guess where you're going to start? Right here where you guys are at, you know, and, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. Guess where I got my start? Right here where you guys are at. So this is your foundation. You know, if you want to build on that, you can. Yep. The opportunities are here. The equipment is here. You know, the support and everything is here if you want to build on it, you know, because if that's the kind of life you want to build, man, what a better place to start. Yep. You know, and like I said, thanks for being a light on that, you know, deal where, like I said, it just he started right here, you know, and like I said, people, you know, like you don't expect that, right. You know, but you know, when you achieve that, it's just like, wow, that's cool. Right. You know, it's not what I was looking for, but it's a cool side effect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you very much, man.
Appreciate you very much. And you're a very important person to this industry, because a lot of these people start with you. You know, a lot of our industry starts at high school. So what you're doing is important. So
I appreciate that. And that's the foundation I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
You know, so thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks for being here.